I'd like to pick up where I left off in the previous tutorial. I'd like to add in some links to this page that I was working on. And in the previous tutorial, I created a simple basic HTML skeleton, and I added in a new code for an image. I had downloaded the image from the web, and it displayed properly in my browser here. So what I want to do is add in links, and I'm going to do two different types of links. I'm going to do one that links to a page that I create, and then I'll do a link to an outside website. Now on W3 Schools, there is an HTML links tutorial. We're not really ready for that yet because that does bring in quite a bit of CSS to change around the color and things like that. Now we will put in a target here in a second. I'll show you that. But we'll get to that in a couple weeks. For right now, all you need is under the HTML basic, you need this code down towards the bottom right here. And links says HTML links are defined in the A tag. So that's what we're going to put in. So let's start with the harder one, which would be to generate pages of your own. So the first thing that you'd probably want to do is start to create your own HTML pages, your separate pages. So in this case, let's say that my website is going to be a site on my hobbies, and I'll just say that this is, let's see, Drew's Hobbies. And I do have an image in there, but before the image, right after my title, that's where I want to put a little menu to my different hobbies. So let's say I'm going to do placeholders here, and I'm going to say, you know, one thing I do is play piano, another thing is trumpet. I'm just going to use the vertical bar on my keyboard to separate these. That's up underneath the backslash. And I like to work on cars, and I like to play golf. So that's pretty much sums it up. So what I'll do here is save this now so that I have a little placeholder menu, and I'm going to come back and make sure this looks alright. Alright, and you can see I have a little placeholder menu. I'm going to create one page for the piano. So obviously when you're creating a new page, you want to think about what you want to name it. So in this case, I want to go ahead and name it piano.html, all lowercase, no spaces. Now the easiest way to do that probably is just to do a file save and then do a file save as. That is by far the easiest way to generate your other HTML pages. It takes 5 seconds to do that. Now the only thing that can be confusing if you do that is when you do save it as another HTML page, it's going to have exactly the same code. So if you're not careful, you may be editing the wrong file. That's the typical problem. But I'll show you, just pay attention to what you're editing, and I'll show you how it's going to work here. So before I start to put in my links, what I will do is just go ahead and save this. I'm only going to do one page right now, so do a file save as, and it should default to my folder. Very important, make sure you save it in the same folder in the same location as your home page. So I see my index.html file, there's my images folder, I'm in the right location. So I'm going to call this piano, and I'll go ahead and click save. And now I should see that show up right here. I have two HTML pages. Now typically what happens if you're not paying attention, you might go in and you might put a link in here, and you really meant to put a link in your HTML and your index.html page. So what you want to do is make sure you're working on the correct page. So I will just take index, drop it right here, and make sure it opens up. Now you could close everything and do it that way and make sure that everything is closed first. Actually in my editing program, close all and then open it up and make sure that you open the right one. Point is, make sure you are editing the correct HTML file. So now let's go ahead and put in a link to the page that we created. So the page I created. You can use this code right here. The difference is going to be what's within the quotation marks. So this is the code that you need to use. I'll move this off to the side so you can see it at the same time here as I'm typing this in. Alright, and it's going to go right before the word piano. Okay, so it's going to be A space href, stands for hypertext reference, equals quotes, and then we're going to do piano. You can see this gives me hints, which is nice, and one space. Alright, so and then if you look at the W3 Schools site, you've got the greater than sign. Now it does go ahead and put in the closing tag. This is one of those tags that requires the closing. It's going to be /A here. So in this case, this /A needs to be on the other side of piano. So you can type that in like that and then take out the other one. Let's take a look at this now. This is exactly what it should look like. That is how you put a link in. That's as simple as it is. So now when I click on the word piano, it is going to take me to that new page. So let's check this out here. I'll go ahead and do a file save. And now let me go back over here to the browser. I'll do refresh. Notice that piano is now a hyperlink. When I click on piano, it takes me to piano.html right here. Now, one thing that I would probably recommend that you do as you're starting to build this here, a couple things really. Have your other HTML file open as well. I'll just open this one too. So now I've got index and piano, and I can work back and forth here in my editor. If you're on Notepad, you probably have to open them separately. And then change something on that second page so that it's a little bit easier to see what you have here. So I'll take off the image right here, and I'll click save. And then maybe I'll change the heading at the top a little bit, and I'll just say piano, and I'll click save. And now if I come over here and refresh that, it's easier to see what you're working with here. So now if I click back, so there's my home page, and there's piano. Now one thing you see that you're missing here would be a home link. So putting in a home link would be from the piano.html page. You want to link back to home. So make sure I am editing piano.html. And let me go ahead and put in a home link right before this. Okay, it looks just like that right there. And then I will go ahead and put in the link around this. So a href equals quote index, because we're linking back to home, just like that. Again, that's a little bit annoying. I'll just type in home there. Okay. Now again, spaces that you type in, like if I put spaces like that, that does nothing. It's only going to recognize one space. You have to put in code to put in more spaces than one, but we're not going to do that right now. We're just concerned with links. So let's go ahead and do a file save, and let's look at the whole thing now. Let me actually go back to the home page. All right, piano, and now look, there is a home link in there. Looks just like that. So if you were going to continue and build out this website, what I would recommend you do is to save your other pages based on that first one you created, whatever you called it. I called mine piano. So what I would do is go ahead and save as and create the other pages based on that, because that's going to be kind of the structure, the format for everything. Now you could go ahead and put in your links before you have the actual pages created. That's an easy way to do it. Because you will be creating the pages later, and then you won't have to put in the links every single time. Now another thing you could do is if you create a menu like this and you have 5 links in there or whatever, you can just highlight, copy and paste this, and then put it on each page, because you want your menu to be present on every single page. So that would be one thing that I would recommend, to save yourself some time. So hopefully you kind of get the picture here as far as things that you can do to duplicate pages and put in links, save yourself some time, create a multiple page website. So the steps that I went through here to create that page, put in the links, you duplicate that over and over again, you get your secondary pages. So this is the beginning of, let's say, a 4 or 5 page website that would be like a project that I'll have you do in the next week or two. So this is multiple page website. Now one other kind of link that I want to show you how to put in, it's going to be a link to an outside website, and it actually looks exactly like this, although we'll put a target of blank in here because we don't want that to replace our website. I'll show you what I mean in a second. And when you are linking to sites outside of the pages that you create, I would recommend that you separate those links somehow. For example, you wouldn't want to have, links to a page on piano, trumpet, cars that you create, and then right beside that a link to like the golf channel or something, because that link would take you away from your website. It would be confusing to your users. So you want to go ahead and keep those separated. So what would make the most sense is if you're going to link to a website, let's say on the piano, then it would be on that actual piano.html page. So I'll go ahead and open that up. So I'll double click on piano to make sure that's open over here, or you can open it up here. and I want to put in the link to an outside site. So let's say right here, let's see, so here is a link to Yamaha's website, which is the type of piano that I have here. So on the next line, what I'll do is just copy and paste this URL and then go ahead and type the code in. Okay, so A space href equals in quotes. Now I'm just going to copy and paste. So I did the Control C or Apple C, Apple V, put the full link inside quotes just like this, and then we're going to do one space target equals underscore blank. Looks just like that. It's going to be in quotes. Okay, and then you want the greater than sign. Now you want let's say Yamaha pianos. That's what the link is going to say, the part that's going to be clickable in blue, and then you're closing a tag. So that what you're looking at right there, links to an outside website, target equals blank means it's going to pop up in a new browser tab, which is generally what you want for the outside websites. Now you could get away with just leaving the target off of it completely, but keep in mind that that would take your visitors completely away from your website. Alright, let's save this and check it, and then look at everything, and then I think we're pretty much done here. So if I refresh this, you can see there is the link now, and I click on that, and it pops up a new tab right there that takes me to the Yamaha piano site. And then there's the home again, and then piano, and that's going to be it. So after this tutorial, I'll continue to add to this site and then start in on some CSS. Now one thing before I close this tutorial, if you look at the skeleton, you might have said, well, where's your head tag? Well, I would need to put in the head tag for these pages. So if I go back to the index file, between the HTML and the body tag, you would want head, and then you would want title, and then we would say just like that, and then close title, close head. Again, notice that I am using this HTML editor. It's free. It closes the tags automatically for me. You may have to type that out. You may have to type out the / title to close those tags. But you know, I've already talked to a few of you. People have different preferences as far as which editors you would like to use. So if you do have any questions on that, let me know. Again, usually you're probably going to go with either Notepad or brackets, but there are others out there. File save, refresh on, go back to home. Notice that at the top of the browser now it says Drew's Hobbies. That is what I just changed by adding in the head tag. And then again, if you find yourself in a position where you have multiple HTML pages and you need to just duplicate the code from page to page, you can just highlight parts of it as opposed to typing it all out again. So if I highlight this and I do the copy, I go to my piano, right up here, I do the paste. You can see it takes a matter of 2 or 3 seconds, do a file save, and now that is on the title is on the piano page now as well. So we're starting to build out the HTML a little bit. We have links, we have an image in here now, and that's a good kind of basic overview for how you can start to generate a full website. All right, that's it for this tutorial.